Howdy and welcome back to Torn City. I am Tim. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive on education, and we can find education by clicking this little icon up here. We can also go down to the city screen and click education right here. We can research education in the wiki, but today we're going to be looking at education through something called Torn Report. All right, so this is a website, torn.report. And in order to log into this, you're going to need a full access API key. And we've covered this in a previous video, but you need to go into your settings and you need to create an API key that has full access security level and name it Torn Report. And once you've got that API key, you're going to use it on the login screen so that Torn Report can access your information and give you good feedback or good reporting in this app. And it'll take a second to load up, but one of the things I really like about this is it gives this really nice summary of where you are in your education process. You can narrow this search by saying, I just want to know the last 7 days or whatever it is you want to see. Some really good information here. It's showing here your perk time remaining for various things in education. It also shows the time remaining to complete your education courses. It shows you here that you've wasted time. In one case, I got kicked out of education because of drug use. And it may also show time reduced for education. In this case, I was in a hair salon briefly and used some job points to cut down on my education time. Also, if you go up here to the settings button, you can make some changes here to reflect any perks or specials that you have. More specifically, if you have the city job perk for having completed the education job, you can click this here. And if you have the Westside University stock block, you can click this here. Or if you have merits in education, and I happen to have 10, you can do that here. And then if you've got the job specials for fitness center or hair salon, you can update this as well. And in doing this, it's going to update the reporting on the previous page. So let's go back here. And you can see now that my time remaining has reduced significantly compared to earlier. All right, let's go back over here. I want to show you a few more things. If we keep scrolling down here, you can say what your education path is. So I can click this and say I want to focus on passive battle stats. And once I've clicked passive battle stats, I can go back to the previous screen. And you can see right here all the courses that would potentially give you passive battle stats. And it may include some like this one here, which is an introduction course that's a prerequisite for something else you need to complete that gives you a passive battle stat. So like this one here, for instance, is going to give me a gain of 1% passive bonus to speed. And it also shows any courses you've already completed in green. So I know right here, all of these ones I've already completed. And there's some other choices here on this menu here. You can focus on gym perks. You can focus on city fines. You can focus on company perks, whatever it is you're currently interested in pursuing. This is a very helpful way to figure out what courses are going to benefit you in your current path that you choose right here on this page. All right, let's go back to the education main screen. And down here, it's showing all the different degree programs and the various courses in each of them. In the case of health and fitness, it's showing me that I have 9 courses remaining, which would take me roughly 3 months and 6 days. And it also shows the individual courses I've yet to complete. In the case of this one here, I only have 1 course left and all the ones I've already finished are in green. All right, all of that said, my recommendation is this for any brand new player. The first course you need to take is this one right here, Introduction to Biochemistry. And the second course that I think every player should take is this one right here, 2127. This is Intravenous Therapy. And this is important because this is going to unlock blood bags, which in my mind are critical in this game. Whether you're doing a lot of fighting or not, blood bags are just a way better way to heal yourself if you get attacked or killed for any kind of reason. In addition to that, there's some merits associated with blood bags, so the sooner you get this started, the better. Once you've completed this course, Introduction to Biochemistry, and this course, Intravenous Therapy, it's going to be my recommendation that you go next to Sports Science. So you'll have to start with this introduction course, but the reason these courses are very important is that these courses, including this one here, Strength and Conditioning, are going to give me a gain of 1% bonus to strength gains in the gym from the moment I complete this class going forward. So what this means is the sooner I get this course completed, the sooner I start getting these gains, and gains stack on gains. So this is the reason I think every player should prioritize these courses, the ones that give gains in the gym, not passive gains, but gains in the gym. And they're all located right here in sports science. So at a minimum, I'm going to recommend you get these 4 courses, this one, this one, this one, and this one, which are all going to give you 1% in each of the 4 battle stats. And depending on your path, you may complete all of this to get down to this one here to get an additional 1% in all gem gains, meaning all 4 battle stats. This is a very nice course to get this early on. If there's something you really felt passionate about, I could make a case that you could wait on these 5 courses here, but I really feel like these 4 are critical and they don't take that long to complete. All right, so now I'm going to go through each of the degree programs and I'm going to kind of highlight the purpose of each and what the benefits are. And toward the end of the video, or as we go through each of these degree programs, I'll explain why one degree program may be a better path than another. All right, starting with health and fitness, this one is largely going to give you passive gains to stats. All right, so when it comes to passive gains for stats, this is the reason why I don't think this needs to be a high priority. At the end of the day, whether you get this today or 2 years from now, the result is the same. Meaning once you've completed the course, you're going to get a passive multiplier to whatever your stats are now or in the future. So for that reason, I wouldn't place a very high priority on this, but if you're heavy into fighting, then maybe these passive gains are a good idea. All right, so we have an introduction course here. Then we have this course, which is going to give a 1% passive bonus to dexterity. This will give a 1% to speed. This one 1% to strength. This one 2% to strength. This one 1% to dexterity. This one 3% to speed. This one's not going to give you anything. And then the final course in the degree program is that you're going to gain a 25% increase in speed during an opponent's escape attempt. And I don't consider this to be a very beneficial thing. So for that reason, I don't see there's any urgency to get this degree program started or finished for that matter. All right, next up we have self-defense. You're going to have the introduction course here. This course is going to give you a 1% passive bonus to defense. This one's going to unlock kicking, which I don't find very useful, although there's a merit associated with this. This one 2% passive bonus for defense. This one 3% defense. This one 2% to speed. This one 3% passive to speed. And the final course is going to give you a 100% increase in damage dealt with fist alone. This again, I don't see any real value in, so for this reason, self-defense, in my mind, is a relatively low priority. All right, so next up we have combat training. You've got an introductory course here. This one here is going to give a passive speed bonus. This one here doesn't do anything for you. This one here also doesn't do anything for you. And then starting with this one, we're going to start getting increased accuracy with various weapons. In this case, machine guns, submachine guns, pistols, rifles, heavy artillery, and shotguns. And the main reason for doing this degree program is this bachelor. This final course is going to allow you to start gaining weapon experience, which is going to allow you to get increased damage and accuracy with specific weapons. And given the fact that there's so many weapons in Torn, getting this sooner rather than later is probably a good idea, because the sooner you start leveling these weapons up, the quicker you're going to get increased damage and accuracy. And I would say this is a particularly good choice for anyone that's heavily into warring or fighting or chaining or any of those kinds of things. All right, next up we have computer science. You're going to have the introduction course here. You've got this course here, which is going to unlock the ability to create websites. This is needed for the bootlegging and scamming crimes. Bootlegging is a very early game crime, so I think that this course should be a relatively high priority. This course here is going to allow you to start creating viruses. This one here is going to give you access to hacking crimes. This course here is not going to allow you to do anything special. This one here is going to get you started on armored and stealth viruses. This one here is going to give you a 25% reduction in heat generated by rig components. This is needed for the cracking crime, which is a relatively late crime. This one unlocks rig overclocking up to 30%. This again is for the cracking crime. This one is an additional rig overclocking thing that will also help you with cracking. This course here is going to allow you to create viruses quicker. This one here doesn't do anything. This one here is also going to allow you to further decrease virus coding times. This here is going to increase your chances of hacking. This course is related to scamming, which is a very late game crime. This one is also needed for scamming. It does scrapers, which allows you to collect email addresses. And then the final bachelor course here is going to give you the ability to send mail and cash anonymously. I don't consider this particularly useful. I'm also not into programming viruses and this sort of thing. So for that reason, I wouldn't choose to do this degree program. But there are some courses mixed in here which are particularly useful for some of the crimes in Torn. Next up, we have general studies. Now, one thing I want to point out here is there are a lot of seasoned players who have been playing this game for many, many years who will tell you that general studies is a good idea. It is not a good idea, and I'm going to explain why. So starting here with the introduction course, next up we have the driver's license, which is going to give you access to driving related crimes. This is a crimes 1.0 thing that you don't need. Then we have the astronomy course, which does nothing. The mechanical arts course, which does nothing. General mechanics, which is going to give you +1 accuracy increase with temporary weapons. This one is okay. And then here we've got English, which isn't going to do anything for us. Writing, which does nothing. General science, which is going to give you a 5% increase in damage with temporary weapons, which is a nice little bonus. Then we've got a hunting bonus here. I'm not a big fan of hunting, but if you are, this would be a good course to get. Then you've got physics, which does nothing to help you out. Ivory crafting is also not going to help you out in any kind of way. And then you have the bachelor, and this is the reason that a lot of older players recommend this course. What this is basically telling you is you're going to get an additional 10% working stat increase for all future education courses which you complete. What this is making reference to is if I go back to the wiki, and I'm just choosing a course at random, but this course here, Introduction to Health and Fitness, is going to give you 75 manual work stats and 15 endurance work stats, which is a decent perk, but in my mind, this is not worth doing quicker in the game. All right, next up we have psychology. So we've got the introduction course here. We've got memory and decision, which is going to give you a 1% passive dexterity. Brain and behavior is going to give you 2% for dexterity passive. And we've got this course, which will give you 4% additional dexterity passive bonus. This course is going to give you 8% additional passive. Then we have this course here, which is going to give you 10% increase to awareness. This is supposed to help you find additional items on the city map. Then we've got this course, which is used for scamming. So this might be one you need later on in your crime game. And then the final course here, and this is a good one, is this one, which is going to give you 10% increase in passive crime XP. So in this case, the sooner you get this one, the quicker your crime XP is going to grow. This will ultimately allow you to get to better crimes, get more crime experience, and grow your NERP bar. So for this reason, this is generally going to be a good path for any new player that's trying to get better in the crime game. All right, next up we have biology. And as I said before, this course here, intravenous therapy, is critical, but let's go through the others. We've got this one here, which is going to give 1% damage to all weapons. This course here is going to increase your medical item effectiveness by 10%. This one is also going to do the same thing. This one's going to give you a 10% bonus when you hit an opponent's throat. This course doesn't provide you anything. This one will decrease an opponent's stealthiness by 0.5. This one here gives you a 3% additional chance in achieving a critical hit. This is a nice little bonus. And then this course we already discussed. And the final course here is this one here, which is going to unlock the ability to equip steroids in your temporary slot. Now, this is what you commonly hear referred to as needles. One example of a needle is this item here, serotonin, which gives you a 300% bonus to defense for 120 seconds and also replenishes your life by 25%. This is really, really helpful in wars, especially when you're outmatched by people with larger stats than you. And there are 3 other kinds of needles that I'll show you here. Epinephrine, that's the 500 bonus to strength. Melatonin, which is the 500 bonus to speed. Melatonin, which is the 500% bonus to speed. And tyrosine, which is the 500% bonus to dexterity. So for that reason, I would say if you're heavily into warring, this is going to be another good degree program to pursue, because these needles can be really beneficial to your warring game, although these needles are quite expensive. And you combine that with some of these other bonuses like this one and this one, you're going to get some nice little damage bumps here and there and some accuracy bumps as well. All right, next up we have the law program, and like with all the other degree programs, there's an introduction course here. This course here is going to enhance your ability to escape from jail. This course here is going to improve your ability to bail yourself and other players out of jail. This course here is going to give you a 5% discount when buying properties from the estate agents. So if you're into trading real estate, buying and selling, this could be nice as a trader. This course here is going to enhance your busting by 5%. This course here is going to get you a 5% discount when you're bailing people out of jail. Then we have this one, which provides nothing. This course for family law does the same thing, nothing helpful. Then we have labor law, which also doesn't help us out. And then this course is going to give us 10% more bonus to our busting skill. And this course here is going to further increase the discount for bailing people out of jail by 10%. And then this course is going to allow us to use less nerve when we're trying to escape from jail. And this law course is very good for business owners. So if you're going to be in business, you'll definitely want to pursue this course, which will give you an advertising boost. Then we have revenue law, which is going to do nothing to help us out. And then we have the final course in the degree program, which is going to give us 2 bonuses. Busting is 50% easier and bailing is 50% cheaper. So this degree program is generally going to be for players that have been playing for a while and they want to work on things like busting, escaping from jail, bailing people out of jail, all this sort of thing. I would encourage you to get these courses finished before you start working on those things and any merits associated with jail. All right, next up we have mathematics. We've got the introduction course here. We've got this course here, which is going to give us passive speed. The next course is also going to give us passive speed. Then in geometry, we're going to get 1% passive defense. In algebra, we're going to get nothing. With probability, we're going to gain 1% to productivity for our company. This again is one that's very good for a business owner. Next up, we got trigonometry, nothing happens. Calculus, nothing happens. And then we have discrete mathematics. This is going to give us a 5% bonus to ammo conservation. I've talked to a few older players who feel like this is a really nice perk later in their game. And then we have 2% passive defense before we get to the final course, which is the bachelor, which is going to give us a 20% bonus to ammo conservation. So on the whole, because this degree program provides passive bonuses and those ammo conservation bonuses, I wouldn't put a very high priority on this degree program. Next up, we've got the history degree. So we've got the introduction course here. Then we have this course, which isn't going to get us anything. And then we have ancient Japanese history, and this is one of my favorite courses that I've completed. This is going to give you 10% damage increase with any Japanese blade. Next up, we got the medieval history, which is going to give us 2% additional bonus to any kind of melee weapon. And then we start to gain the ability to find these random items on the map, in this case, medieval coins. With this course here, Asian sculptures. And with this course here, you're going to find Senate board pieces more often. Opinions will vary on awareness and awareness related things, but I don't generally view city map finds as being all that great. These 3 courses more specifically, I don't get very excited for. However, this final course is very good for anyone that's into trading. And this bachelor is going to allow you to unlock the museum. And this is something I've done. So if I go to the city screen and then click museum, you can see here that I'm able to trade various things for points. And here you can see I can get 10 points for a full set of plushies, namely all of these items here. Or 10 points for a full set of flowers, including all of these items here. And then those things we mentioned, like Senate pieces and these various things, are used to get points in the museum as well. So the way I would summarize the museum is this will allow you to cut out the middleman you're currently dealing with by selling individual plushies and flowers to traders. Those traders are using those items to get these points, and they're generally going to pay you a little less than they're truly worth when you look at the point value that you get for exchanging the sets. So on the whole, if you're into trading, I would say that the history course is a relatively high priority. We already touched on sports science here, namely these 4 courses which give increased gains, which I'm a big fan of. In the case of this course here, you're going to get 10% increased steroid effectiveness. This course here is going to give you a 2% passive bonus to both speed and strength. This one gives a passive bonus of 2% to defense and dexterity. And this course here is going to allow you to unlock the sports shop. The sports shop is where you buy stat enhancers. And in my mind, stat enhancers are a very late game kind of thing, so this is not particularly useful to a newer player. However, the Bachelor, as I mentioned before, is really nice because you're going to get a further 1% boost in all gym gains. So between this course here and these 4 courses here, that's a 2% bonus on all gym gains for the rest of your Torn life. And for that reason, I think this is a good degree program for any new player. All right, finally, we have the business degree program. You've got the introduction course here. Then you've got statistics, which is going to give you 2% productivity for your company. This course will give you 5% increased employee effectiveness. Then we've got marketing, which will increase your advertising effectiveness. Corporate finance, which will further increase your productivity in your company by 2%. Corporate strategy, which is going to cause a gain of 7% in employee effectiveness for your company. Pricing strategy is going to give you a 10% increase in perceived product value for your company. This course, logistics, is going to give you 2% productivity increase for your company. This one here will further increase perceived product value by 5%. Ethics will give you another 2% in productivity. Human resource management will cause a gain in passive bonus in employee working stats. And e-commerce will give you an additional 2% increase in productivity. Then finally, we have the bachelor degree for business, which is going to allow you to unlock things within a company. So if I go back to the wiki, and I'm picking a music store at random, when you buy this company as a brand new company, it's going to have 4 employees capacity, and you have these various upgrades that you have to pay for in order to increase the size of your workforce. In addition to paying, you have to have the Bachelor of Commerce to unlock these things here. The same applies for the staff room upgrades, and also applies for any warehouse upgrades. So any of the upgrades to a company, you have to have the bachelor in order to be able to do these things. So to sum it all up, if you have an interest in running a company, I would make the case that these courses are critical, and I'll expand on that by saying if you have any aspirations to have a high-star company, I would say that these are absolutely necessary. To be a little more blunt, if you don't have all these courses completed, I think you're making a mistake buying and running a business. All right, I hope you all found this video helpful. Don't forget, I am randomly giving away items like Xanax for players who are leaving comments on these YouTube videos and clicking the like button, but only if you're giving your Torn name in your comments. That's it for now. Y'all have an amazing day.